I have my video notes over here, so I'm going to be looking over there a little bit. But I wear this little gold pendant and chain every day, and I have for the past 2 years. I rarely take it or my other two necklaces off. The only time that I have is for sports games when I can't wear jewelry, and in those cases, I literally put it right back on after. I'm gonna put a picture up, but like for now, it has like a little baby, maybe Jesus, in the baptismal font, a pool for those who are not familiar with the term, with two angels on either side and a dove in the center. And then there's small little flowers on the border. And on the back, it has the inscription, Ricordo del Baptismo. I'm not sure if I pronounce it correctly. I think it's Italian. But this is not just a necklace. It is entangled in so much more, as Hodder would say. This adored object is a symbol of my religious commitment, detailed artistry, and intricately crafted 14-karat gold, and a history of pendant wearing, as well as my relationship with people in my life, especially my sister, who is the true owner of this necklace. But it's okay, she knows I have it, don't worry. So what do I mean by this is not a necklace? As we watched in the chair video, it had so many other things that it was entangled in. Clearly, it takes the shape of a necklace, and I literally wear it on my neck. So what do I mean it's not a necklace? This is not a necklace. It is a tangible representation of my religion, a symbol of my baptism, and a memory of my commitment to my faith. The inscription on the back, as I said earlier, says Ricordo del Baptismo, which translates to memory of baptism. Baptism is the first sacrament in the Catholic faith, and it is meant to be paired with confirmation later in life when a person is old enough to choose for themselves the next step to take in their faith, which I just completed my senior year around like February. This is not a necklace. It is detailed artistry. This artistry comes from Italy, where each object is crafted of gold and manipulated to display an intricate depiction of baptism and guardian angels. This specific piece is made of 14-karat gold. The article we read on Prince Shotoku, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly also, but it represents an object as well as art, history, and culture. The figure is far more than just a doll. It has so many specific art elements, including the inside and the specific grain of wood. Prince Shotoku is filled with dedicatory objects, which is similar to icons and other offerings that are art, which we also read about. This is not a necklace. It is history. Pendant wearing can be dated back to the Stone Age, which I read in Britannica. People wore pendants in different shapes, sizes, and materials to represent something that was important to them. In the Middle Ages, pendants were seen as devotional and often depicting religious figures, the cross, and more. In time, pendants have shifted their purpose from devotional objects to decorative and then back again. In the 14th century, noblemen wore pendants with heraldic subjects, and women wore necklaces with sentimental subjects. Also, which I read in Britannica. This is not a necklace. It is a symbol of relationships. First, as I mentioned earlier also, this is my sister's, so I feel connected to her whenever I think about it or see it on my neck in the mirror. I am instantly reminded of her. I also think about the people in my life that have guided my faith, almost like my guardian angels, engraved in the pendant. I think of my godparents, my parents, my sponsor, and more. Hodder says, so things bring people and other things together, on page 8. This is because we are all connected to each other through relationships, and things can be proof of relationships and reminders of them. And I often hold it if I'm in nerve-wracking situations, which I've been holding it a couple times while I'm making this presentation, just because it centers me almost and brings a sense of calmness, and then just reminds me of everybody in my life who has guided me in certain ways. And Kopytov, as we also read, grapples with objects and commodities and how they can be decommoditized. Kopytov says, a commodity is a thing that has use, value, and that can be exchanged in a discrete transaction for a counterpart. I read that on page 68. What does this definition of commodity do for my pendant? Well, when I was doing research, I found little historical details about this specific pendant. But when I was searching, I found a list of for sales on vintage jewelry websites, auction websites, and even eBay. This is possibly because of its 14 karat gold nature. For these websites, Ricordo del Baptismo pendants are surely a commodity, as they are selling an object of value in exchange for money. But it feels different for me. I stumbled upon this object of my sister's a little over 2 years ago. I never once thought about its value, what it was made of, and especially not selling it. For me, it was decommoditized after a special person in my sister's life gifted it to her for her baptism. Rather than value in exchange for money, it was a symbol of baptism. I always did wonder how it never tarnished because I didn't know what it was made of. I just assumed that since it was a depiction of possibly Jesus's baptism, that he was probably protecting its physical composite in some sense. In this object's life of decommoditization, I believe it will become a family heirloom passed down when or if my children are baptized. So, this is not a necklace. It is a symbol of my religious commitment. Detailed artistry and intricately crafted 14 karat gold, history of pendant wearing, and my relationship with people in my life. Before we got in depth with objects, I didn't think much of their interconnectedness. Hodder describes it perfectly with, we fail to see things that are connected to and dependent on other things. I read that on page 6. He also asks a further question. Does it matter that in our daily lives, we forget the spatial and temporal connectedness of things? That is something that I think needs further thought, and I think we could explore more, but I think we can all think about it following this video. And I'm just gonna put my sources next, but thanks for watching.